Okay, I think we might get started now. We've got a little bit to get through, but hopefully we've got plenty of time at the end for any questions. So thanks everyone for joining us today at the webinar, which is on how to use Aristotle to support establishing good standards for your metadata. I'm Robin, I'm here with Muskan today, and we're going to show you how to maintain good standards in the Aristotle metadata registry. So if you can just throw a thumbs up if everyone can hear us and all the tech stuff's working for us properly. Perfect. Thank you. I'll get started then. So today we'll be featuring issues, validation checks, review processes, and these are all designed to streamline the endorsement of metadata with just a few clicks. So by the end of today, you'll have an idea of how to establish a review process, configure your metadata for endorsement, report issues on individual metadata items, and we'll touch on creating validation rules, which is a little bit more complex, but we'll show you how they can be really powerful to use in your reviews. And at the end, we'll also host a QA session. So if you've got any questions that aren't answered by the end of this webinar, please ask them or post them in the chat. So just before we go into looking at the review process, I thought we'd just step back and talk about how to use the registry for the team that we are involved in and how Aristotle applied our work. And to reinforce to people that it's a people piece of work. People are at the heart of data governance. And Muskan and I are part of the master team here at Aristotle. And this follows a process that we here at Aristotle have called ideal. So I'll just throw up a couple of slides on the master methodology just to get people sort of understanding how we work. So the master methodology is to focus on the fact that metadata is a team sport, and like agile methodology is to project management, the master methodology is designed to provide consistent steps for data governance. And it focuses on continuous activities that build capability and improve how users document data and metadata. So you can see that the M stands for metadata. We've got analysis, standards, and teamwork. And metadata is critical to generating value from data. So we must promote the ease of documentation by people creating data. So we put the definitions and things like that in the hands of the people creating data, and our team supports that effort. The A is for analysis, and business analysis processes are key to all of this work. The data is just meaningless without getting that business process behind it, so we document that. The support and standards are key, especially to today's chat. And we've got all of the standards available to us that we should be focusing on. So when we're doing a piece of work, we first look to standards, what available standards, what's the appropriate thing to use. And when we put that into metadata, we can then reuse it and improve data literacy by applying standards as we go in creating metadata. And of course, the successful governance programs come from collaboration with teamwork. So all of the governance is a people effort, but to get the registry supporting that work, we put it all into an environment in Aristotle. And just quickly, we'll go through the ideal process that we sort of follow to sort of keep ourselves in check about where we are in a particular piece of work and a particular project. And I just want to focus today especially on endorsing and publishing metadata, but the I is for investigate, so that's a high level view of the data environment of your organisation or your team. The D is for documenting in more detail all of the actual items in a table and very specifically about the data that's being collected. Endorsing and publishing is once you get all that documentation in, you need to get approvals and agreement and buy-in from the rest of the organisation. And audit is to talk about how we need to continually review the work that's being done, check that there are expiry dates on certain things. You can do that in Aristotle, and you can come back and continually check that the work has been maintained and is current. And leadership. Of course, you can't do much of this without a good leadership, and we can help to, there's a strategy in place to get leadership to support the work and vice versa. Anyway, so that's quickly a review of master and ideal, because we've got a bit of documentation around that, and if you're interested in more detail, we can share that with you. So just get in touch with us if you want more information about master and ideal and how that affects the data governance. So we should talk about reviews, and we're going to sort of go straight into having a look at Aristotle and getting an understanding of how the review process works. And reviews are used to endorse metadata by different states by registration authorities. It's a way for different business areas to put their stamp of approval on metadata content. And once some metadata has been developed in a work group, it's possible for members of the work group to submit it for a review, which may or may not include a request to change its status. So there are a couple of ways to use reviews here. You have to be a registrar of a registration authority. So that's a role within registration authority. And you can approve reviews and change the registration status as the request is sent.
Sorry, Robin, what do you mean by registrar of registration authority?
Oh, okay. Yep. I've got a slide on that. So let me go find it. So we're talking about reviews in the registry and all of these different roles and groups. So this is just a quick slide to show you how it all fits together in the registry. So at the top, we've got Aristotle registry, and below here are all the different groups that belong to the registry. So over here is where all of the metadata is developed, and we've got the core work groups. Over here, we've got registration authorities, which approve all of the work that's being done, and they all sit under a stewardship organisation. So within each of these groups, there are different roles. In work groups, you can view, you can edit. In registration authorities, you can also just view, edit, and be the administrator of it. And that's where the registrar of the registration authority can make the changes. So that's a role within that registration authority. Over here is just a quick reminder that you can have more than one stewardship organisation in the registry, which can sort of have a similar setup. So you'll have all work groups, and they're all in control of their own endorsement processes by the registration authority.
That's great knowledge, Robin. My organization is planning to set up a registration authority. I am a part of a work group. I have submitted one review. Can you step me through the process how I can endorse the quality of a metadata in Aristotle registry, please?
Yeah, sure. So I think we'll just go straight into the review, into the registry. So I will.
Do you want me to show the review which I created?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks. I'll go. Okay, so I think that is working. So please show me what you're doing.
Thank you, Robin, for a good amount of information. Let me just step you through the review which I created today and submitted for approval. So I have created a quality review. I am a part of my work group in the stewardship organization. I want it to be endorsed to a qualified status, and I have submitted under you to get it approved. And I want the response. I submitted it on 24th of October, and I want the response today. Do you think it's possible to get it approved?
Sure.
Before I can get that approved by you, I want to quickly jump on the issues tab, and I figured out someone has opened an active issue against the item for which I have submitted the review. So I quickly jump to the item and I navigate to the issues tab and I open the issue against that item. I can see someone has defined that issue to be item. The definition of this metadata is incorrect. And if I see the proposed changes, I can see what definition is being proposed against that metadata. And if I go to the differences tab, I can see what is the current definition and how it is different to the one that is being proposed.
So just double checking, you don't have to copy and paste and edit every single item that way, do you?
No, we just need to click on accept changes and close, and this will update the current definitions to the metadata item on the metadata page. Everything that's being changed to that items would be stored against the history of that item within the Aristotle registry. So if I quickly jump back to reviews and if I reload this page, any issues against this review would get closed. Let me just quickly jump to the conversation tab.
So we're still in reviews, aren't we? We're
Yeah.
back into the actual review.
We are back into the actual review. Hang on, Robin. I can approve it as a qualified. What do you mean by qualified in Aristotle registry?
Yeah, so we've got a whole range of registration statuses, and to find that we go back to the registration authority. So from this page, and as you know, you can find all sorts of things in different ways in Aristotle, but from here, the one place you can go to go to the registration authority is here. So clicking back to our registration authority, this is the table that you can see what all of those those statuses mean. And this first column here is all about the registration statuses that are have been included in the ISO 11179 standard. So that is a preset set of states. But what is interesting here is that you can edit all of the content from the next columns, the next three columns. So here we have some recommended text that is taken from the standard about that, but shall I show you how to edit them now? Yeah.
Before we edit them, I just wanted to check what that public and workgroup means here.
Oh yeah, sure. So here we've got visibility and locked statuses. On this page, further down, you can see the visibility legend. So just to remind us what all of these things mean and who can see what. So you've got all of these different groups. The most visible is the public, and it's published to the web so everyone can see that. And then you start narrowing it down to authenticated users, who will be the ones that can log into the registry. They can have only view access, but they still have to log in. And then you've got stewardship organisation members, workgroup members, and registration authority only members. So there's varying levels of visibility. And here you can see who out of those groups can edit the content once it's locked or unlocked. So that's the combination.
So if you choose to endorse this item to qualified, so anyone can view it.
For this example, yes, you can see here you've got qualified, what that means, and that it's public and it's locked from editing.
And we can set everything according to our organization needs within Aristotle.
Absolutely. So here we've got settings. To do that, you have to be admin of the registration authority, and then we've got all of these different activities we can do on this page. So here's the general page where you name the registration authority and edit it. This is the page you're talking about, Muskan, is the states, and here is a reflection of what is the content of that first table on that first page. So here, this is where you can make those changes. First, you get your publicly visible, all of these options here, whether it's locked or unlocked. And here you can create your own descriptions of what those states mean. While we're here, I think, while you may think that 9 states is too many, that is quite possibly true. And you don't have to use all of them, but they're available for use.
That's good. Like, registry helps me with a lot of controls regarding who can view my metadata.
Absolutely. Or you can keep everything just available to your own organization, and they have to log in. Yeah.
That's really good to know. Thank you, Robin, for that.
You're welcome. So shall we go back to our review?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I think there is a lot of information that I need to get out, like what I can see on the review page. I can see the number of items in the review is 2, but number of cascaded items are 48. What do you mean by that, Robin? Sorry. Can you explain me that, please?
That's okay. Yep, sure. So we've got an existing review here, but to show you better, I'll create one myself.
Yes,
so to do that,
please.
we'll go back here to reviews. There we go. So this takes me back to another, to all of the reviews in my dashboard. See over here, that's my dashboard. Over here, there's a button to create new review. And I'll create a new review. I'll pick what work group I want it to be associated with. Same with the registration authority. A date, I'll make it today for simplicity.
Sorry, Robin, I'm asking you a lot of questions, but what if I didn't get response by that day?
So the reviewer has a list of notifications of what things they're being requested to do. So they can always see what is the most recent, the things that are being asked of them. If we have time, I'll go back to that view as well.
And do I need to select the registration status every time I submit a review?
No. So as I said earlier, we have an option to create a review that includes a registration status, or is just a review that I want someone to come and look at my items without changing its registration status. And here we go with another date. So this is the date the registration of qualified will become effective. And you can date that in the future so that when that date comes around, the automated the automated registration status will change. And so on this, back to your question, we've got the actual item to submit for a review. And this one is a distribution or a table metadata level that includes data elements. And while I've just put one item in here, I also now have the choice down here to just make that the item that I want reviewed, or if I want to cascade to all the child items. And if you're wondering if you've picked the right thing, you can just quickly take a look and see what the item is you've picked. So for this request, I've requested that distribution to be reviewed and all of the data elements underneath as well. So everything that happens to this distribution will also happen to the items below.
So are you telling me that if I select the distribution ID, the review will cascade to distribution, data element concepts, data elements, object class properties, and value domains just with one item?
Yes.
That's great.
It makes things a bit simpler.
That's the thing which I wanted for my organization.
Cool. So I will create that review and we'll have a quick check of what is here. And as you can see, this little part here talks about the items that I've requested and the number of items being cascaded. So that's 50 in all. So you can just see the impact here. It's 50 items, and we can check on the actual items, and you have the ability to make a change to the review here as well.
That's good. I have one more question, Robin. While I submit metadata for review, I also want to make sure that the metadata that is submitted for the review is of the good quality. Mm-hmm. How can I make sure when I submit that for a review?
So now you're asking difficult questions, but we've got a bit of a checklist here that will help you enormously in that process. So all from the review tab, all the tabs above here on the review lets you see a whole lot of information, and part of that is the validation checks. We have, and I'll show you later a little bit about the validation rules part of that generate these responses. So this tells me, this gives us some text to say that I've got the name starts with a capital letter and definition must not be empty. So we've done some basic rules around here. And so every item has come up with a tick. Oh, and here we've got one that doesn't. So this shows me that the definition was empty. So rather than going and checking every one of the 50 items that are attached here, I can sort of narrow down some of the things that may not be meeting the requirements to be set to qualified. So I can then go and check that why these things aren't meeting that qualification, that they're validation. So we've got a whole number of crosses. I'll just, sorry for making everyone dizzy here. I will just try and see if there are any other things. So you can see as there are a few more rules that have been applied here, naming conventions, etc., that it's being linked to all of the required items. But you can make them simple checks, if not more complex ones are available as well. So I'll just scroll back up to the top.
And where I can set them in the registry?
Okay, so now for that we have to go back to the registration authority. Back to this page that we were looking at earlier, and across the top, because I can edit this data, the governance registration authority, I have this tab called settings available to me, and we move down to this last page here that opens up to the validation rules. Like I said, they're a bit technical. I absolutely am not an expert in this field, and we have a number of rules that we have created that are reusable. So these rules give you an idea of how to apply a rule across all the metadata items. Some of these things, you've got things here in objects, you can apply a rule to a particular metadata item type, and so on. So you can see that there are some basic rules that we've put in. We can share those with you. We've got some links to a bit more information, help information on validation rules, and there's some people in the Aristotle community site that have got a lot more expertise in creating these regular expressions that we can draw on their knowledge to help you with creating the various rules. But these ones work in this example. So any item in the review that you have created will be able to be checked on that validation check because those rules are in place.
I have one more question, Robin.
Go for it.
What about, I have created a lot of custom fields in my metadata item, and I want to do a validation check against the custom fields. Can we do that as well?
Yes, that is not right now, but that is in the process of being developed. So very soon the custom fields will be able to be checked for the validation rules. So all those people out there that are getting a whole lot of work on board to implement their custom fields, that will also be available to check.
That's really great. And because I have cascaded the review, do I need to go to every item to approve it, or can we approve it in just one go?
Yeah. No, thanks for reminding me. So I'll go here. I think that's the right one. Yes. So that's the one I've just created. Where because we requested the qualified status here, there's this green button that you go to, set that qualified field. There's a few text messages that you can add in. An option to keep the review open or close it. I'm going to close it. And here I can review and apply the status. And so here you can see all of the items that are going to be endorsed as qualified. But in some cases, if that registration status has already been met, or if it's a high registration status, that won't be overwritten. It's, as you can see, it's unticked here. So Aristotle has gone and checked that, said this doesn't need to be changed, and it will stay the same. So you don't risk making an inadvertent change to the registration status. So there's a number of them that have been ticked and unticked, and then I can apply the selected statuses.
So what will happen if some item is on the higher registration status than the one we are proposing to the item?
It will stay there. It won't change. Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah. And so that becomes more apparent when you start creating more content and reuse a whole lot of different components. And you don't have to worry about you can still use the cascade option. So I'm just going to apply those statuses. and close the review. The review will close, and then that's all been taken care of.
That's really good. Thank you, Robin, for stepping me through. I will create one registration authority for the data governance that can manage my metadata from today.
You're welcome. So I think that's drawn us to the end of what we wanted to pass on to you all today. We've got a few minutes left. Are there any questions or you wanted to ask? Is there anything else that we needed to cover here?
I think we have one question from call online. Can we give us system user a registrar role within the registration authority?
Give system user. Sorry, Cole. So that you're meaning any role. So yeah, an admin can, the administrator of the registration authority can make a change to the roles of the people who are members of the registration authority. Is that the question?
I think currently we can't give a system user access to the registration authority as a registrar, because currently system users are the one who are going to use the API, or you can federate content from other registries, but we can take it as a feedback, and I can surely check with my development team if we can give a system user a role as a registrar in registry.
Yeah, we'll take that on notice, Cole.
Another question from Sarah. For the visibility settings, is there a way of having definition visible to anyone within the organization, a user within, or do the people within the organization has been added to the work group in order to see the definition that has been made public? This is the metadata which hasn't yet gone to release to the public, but we have a valid, we wanted to. Answering your question, Sarah, yes, we can set the visibility of a metadata just to the members of a stewardship organization or just the members of the work group. So that visibility can be controlled at the visibility level in the registry.
Once the review is completed, will it always remain in the governance box? So they will be there as completed reviews, and they can be resurrected. We don't delete the reviews, and all that information remains with that actual activity. So it gets closed. You can view the closed reviews. Does that answer the question, Robin? Yep. So I hope that's sort of helped everybody with this sort of part of the registry that a lot of our existing users may not be that familiar with, but I can assure you that once you start using it, it's very powerful and helps you keep track of all of these things. And I recommend trying to play around with those validation rules, and we are happy to help you get that up and running and get that in place as soon as possible. No. No, so reviews aren't publicly visible. Sliding up, but that's okay. They are something that are only visible to workgroup members and the registration authority members. And that if you're asking the next question about issues as well, Cole, I know you haven't asked that question, but issues are visible more broadly to members of the registry, but not to publicly people who haven't logged into the registry. Sorry. Okay. So I think we're at 3:30. Is this the time that we're supposed to be finishing, I think? Is it
It's 1:40.
45? Okay. Oh, sorry. I thought we were doing this 3:30. Any other questions? Any more questions? No worries. Thank you. So thanks for joining us today. I will we'll drop some of those links. I'm not sure if we've done that yet, but as soon as we finish off here, we'll drop the links that we think would be great in this area, and keep in touch with us. That'll be great. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for coming along.